Looney says good morning. He says it's too cold outside. He's purring very loud. The chapter, the theme, the narrative, the whatever this week is, it is, it's a short week, isn't it? I'll be here tomorrow and then New Year's Day off and then back on Thursday and then back on Friday. But the topic will be becoming the author of your own life. Now, this is a topic that's filled with intrigue, interest, controversy for my friends in England. By the way, thanks everybody for liking and subscribing to the YouTube channel. It's growing and I'm wondering if there are things in your life that you want. And if there are, and I know that there are for myself, I notice that desire is never quenched or quelled. Something is always bubbling up. So I think it's rather obvious in the world of psychology, in the world of metaphysics, in the world of spirituality, that there's something to be said for writing things down. And yet it's also the time of the year where we hear a lot about these New Year's resolutions. I'm going to stop eating this. I'm going to stop doing that. I'm going to start doing that. And yet that's almost become sort of trite and banal, the New Year's resolution, because, somewhere before January 15th, you will eat that thing and you will miss that day of working out and etc. So I'm not interested in cheap, superficial New Year's resolutions. I'm interested in the most powerful form of human spiritual authoring that we can engage in. In other words, should we, is it appropriate that we chart the course of our destiny and our meaning and our purpose and actually put it in writing? Well, we've heard from many of the great ones, most of the great ones, almost all the accomplished people do write down their goals, their objectives. Those are two words, their intentions, their dreams, their desires. They crystallize them in writing. Now, if you're a journaler or a recovery person or all the above, we all know the power of writing things out. The recovery movement doesn't require it, invites uh, a deep inventory where we take a look, we sort of turn the rock over and look at everything inside of us that is, how shall we say, less than savory. Anger, fear, worry, dread, the mistakes we've made. And we all know what a wonderful process that is to clear that out. And then there's the other side of it, which is who do we want to become? And to what degree can or should we really say? Now, um, I'm going to describe a spectrum of uh, this particular idea. On one end of the spectrum is we should be so cleared of self-will and individual um, determination that we shouldn't do anything other than let God's will come into our head every single day and operate on the inspired thought. And to even consider writing things down as a blueprint for our future is to sort of get in the way of God or to involve ourselves in selfishness. Now, I'm putting that at one end of the spectrum. On the other end of the spectrum, I'm putting uh, our capacity to determine exactly the details of our life and exactly what we want to have happen and all the circumstances that surround it. In other words, full, complete control of who it is that we are and where it is that we're going and what we'll be doing and what we'll be experiencing and what we'll be having. That is a huge spectrum, isn't it? Now, this is something you have to determine for yourself. And I think every person does. For some people, they don't want to do this process. They just want to operate on the plane of inspiration and not say or determine. And others wish to really exercise their ability to imagine, to visualize, and to write things out, and to be a co-creator, a co-collaborator, and a co-author of their existence. These are big questions, but I think it's definitely that, okay, uh, my understanding, God definitely wants us in the game. God does not want to operate us like marionettes or puppets constantly pulling our strings. He gave us free will, creativity, and imagination for a purpose. I've noticed in my own life when I will really bear down and write down my goals, dreams, and desires, the degree to which it's had an astonishing impact on my life. So, the challenge this week, and we'll talk about it tomorrow, we'll talk about how we can go about this, but I'm inviting and I could use the word challenging, but it's mostly an invitation for anyone that's listening to get out their journal, to get out a notepad. Tomorrow we'll talk about a way to do this. If you already have a way to do it, great. But there's a system that I've used, and I didn't think of it on my own. It's a synthesis, it's an assimilation of everything I've learned over the years. But it's a template that we can use to write down what's most important to us, to visualize it, to imagine it, to meditate, and then to have those thoughts and ideals, principles move down from our brain through our arm onto a piece of paper, write it down, and the diligence and the rigor and the discipline that that takes. And it simply boils down to those who will and those who won't. But if we're not willing or if we won't do it, we're sort of wandering, banging into life, hoping things turn out. And I think to some degree, we're not exercising or honoring this great capacity that we have to author and determine and to form the blueprint. Now, am I saying that we should write down everything that we should happen? Should we dictate to God exactly who we should meet and what we should be doing? No. To me, there's an incredibly uh, creative way of going about this where we express our desire and we create the space for God to fill in the details in the way that only the power greater than ourselves can do it. And that God loves it when his kids get creative and fill out these finger paintings, these canvases, these paint by numbers of our lives. And so that's what we'll talk about. And tomorrow we'll assign it more formally. Anyway, hope you like the idea. And I'm going to do, by the way, I'm going to do it. So I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.